Welcome to Small Business Big Visibility. We have a great interview coming up. You are so fortunate to be on this episode. This is with Tara Lynn and Liam. It's a mom and son business team. But what's really cool is also their backstory and how they got here. And so I'm not going to spill it all. Tara, Lynn, tell us how did you get to where you are today? Because you've got a crazy good story. You've given me just a few little drops over a couple conversations. So tell everyone, how did you get here? How did you become an entrepreneur and be an entrepreneur that decides she wanted to work with a teenage son?
Well, first, Jason, I am so excited to be here and be here with my son. I have a failure story that turned into a resilience story.
Mm.
I wanted to get my doctorate in psychology and have a theater minor, and then I ended up failing Psych 101, which doesn't sound like a great start. I also started off with thousands of dollars in debt right out of high school, which no one wants to do. My educators wanted me to succeed, and my family wanted me to succeed. I think the world wants high schoolers to succeed. So when you're in college thinking that everything's going to go well, and then you end up failing in your dream, it's this devastation that's hard to understand. And then you don't know what to do.
Oh yeah, what a
So,
slap in the face. Like, here's my dreams, crushed, smashed, burned, thrown in the trash. Now what are you gonna
yeah,
do? Yeah,
yeah,
life hits you a
exactly.
big one.
Exactly. Well, and I feel like I have a keynote speech called The False Finish Line.
Mhm.
I juxtapose this idea of I remember sitting at the back of my classroom and I was sitting with all of my friends and I was drawing and there was no gold star, there was no grade, there was no reason to be there. I'm there with kindergartners and I'm just talking about my family and I was such a big girl because my little brother was at home and I was excited and then I remember being asked, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" And
Mm.
there was this switch to like, oh, there's a reason to be here. And it became about the grade and it became about the scholarships and it became about competing with other students. And that was hard. And then I ended up having this goal. And I think that sometimes there's this false finish line of getting into college and getting a degree and getting a job. So when I failed, it was this devastation. And then I became a flight attendant, which was fabulous. I was a flight attendant. I flew all around the world and they paid me for it. And then I got hurt in turbulence and I had
Oh wow.
surgery and they told me that's okay. We're going to pay for you to go to college. And I was like, I failed college. So how is that going to work?
Mm.
But then I got to go to college for alternative learners. I found out that I'm ADHD and repetitive thought OCD, and they have a way to learn for people like me. And I went to a school with an urban education program, and I've been able to teach inner city students and alternative learners and neurodivergent learners. That term wasn't around when I was younger, but
So
I've been
when
able.
you were going to school again, did
Uh,
you go back and say, I'm going back to my original dream, or did you go a new path?
that's a great question. I think that's the other thing that we don't teach high schoolers is that the false finish line is we think that you go to high school, college, and then you get this job. I don't know about you and your path. I know a little bit about your story, but we think that you arrive and then you have this job, but it's like 47 years of working, sometimes 40 years of working after high school. And I've been a realtor, I've been a flight attendant, I've been a teacher, I've been a server, I've been a bartender, I've done so many different things. I'm an author. So I took a whole bunch of different paths. Learning that I got to be a teacher, I first thought I was going to be an elementary school teacher,
Mm.
and then I cried at kindergartners. Give me a student that just got out of juvie any day. They're my passion over
Mm.
kindergartners any day. I think kindergarten teachers need to get paid a lot more than they do. All teachers do.
Give me the
But
hardened criminals, but don't give me those 6-year-olds.
it's so true. But anyway, I was able to teach. I've been teaching for in different capacities, everything from international baccalaureate. I got to homeschool my boys. I have two amazing boys and did a little bit of that. They've also been in public school. My younger son was in a charter school for a while, and I've had a lot of different experiences with education, but I was able in the last 9 years was able to teach at a high school while I was also teaching as adjunct faculty with the university and noticed this trend where students were leaving college and not having the skills that they needed. They weren't understanding everything from calendar organization. We weren't teaching them about budgeting and taxes. We weren't helping them prepare the adult documents that they need. We weren't helping them understand that 40 years of time after they graduate, that the college isn't the only thing. And then even going to college, it wasn't about finding the career. I wanted them to figure out who they were. What are your strengths and weaknesses?
Mhm.
Learning habits, learning about connections. 61% of our youth, our young adults, are saying that they're persistently lonely, not just
Whoa.
lonely, but persistently lonely.
Wow.
And we have older people, middle people, people of all ages that are lonely right now. And the Harvard study of adult development is saying that across the board, the number one thing for human happiness is connection, intergenerational connection. And that's what we teach. So I've got so many other things that I'd love to share, but we have not years. We have a short amount of time, and I'd love for you to
So,
hear about
yeah.
the
So Liam, tell me
but
from your perspective, at what moment did you see this as like, do I am I working with, yeah, I'm going to work with my mom here. We're going to do this. Like, that's not common. Many people that might be in your shoes would be like, oh, get me as far as I can, right? It's not like, let's start a business together. So
Yeah.
what's that been like for you?
Well, I mean, I've been working with my mom on stuff like this for our entire life, or my entire life, to be
Mhm.
honest. We ran a charity together when I was younger, back in Seattle, and we've ran it through our old church beforehand. It was called Good Samaritans. So we've worked together as partners for a significant portion of my life.
Mm.
And I feel really strongly about this topic as I just graduated through high school. So I went through high school, and I've never really had an issue with academics, but I always had an issue with the way that they were teaching them. There was no core skills. It was always just, do you know how to divide a certain number? Do you know how to do factor? Oh, what are they called? I did calculus last year and I already forgot about
Right.
them. Fat, the things that,
real.
I don't even know, man. All the stuff. But
Right,
they
right.
didn't teach us the things that matter. And I felt like if anybody's going to change that, it's going to be my mom, because she has so
Mm.
many years in all of this stuff, going from Frank Church and these alternative high schools where she's worked with kids who have struggled with much worse things and been able to help them by giving them these core skills. So there wasn't really a specified time that I was like, I'm going to go work for this business right now. I think it was a buildup with my experience going through high school and my negative experiences, as well as wanting to help people not be stuck in a situation where they maybe know a lot of English, know a lot of math, know these social studies skills, but they don't actually know how to function in the real world. They don't know how to budget. They don't know how to do any of this stuff. So for me, it was just, there was an opportunity to fix that. So I took it, even if it was my mom, even if it was somebody else. And I think I wanted to succeed. So yeah.
Awesome. I love that. And going back, Tara Lynn, one of the things you said earlier was that false finish line. And I've been re-listening to Viktor Frankl's book, Man's Search for Meaning. And there's
Mm,
one phrase in there where he talks about so many humans are thinking that they just have to get to the state where there's no problems, there's no
yeah.
challenges. It's almost like they've reached this equilibrium. I was envisioning it almost like a tightrope walker and everything's just perfect, or
Yeah.
someone's sitting up on the mountaintop just and everything's right in that perfect state. And he's like, that is the worst state for humans to be in long term, because we don't find our satisfaction, our meaning, our purpose until we're chasing something of value. And so for me to hear that you're like, no, high school leads to usually college and then 47 years of work, and you're helping people prepare and understand that that's not the finish line. There's the finish line keeps moving with you. I think that alone will bring so much more satisfaction for people when they understand that the joy is in the struggle, not in the sitting.
Yeah. Thank you for bringing that up. I have a moment in time when I was a flight attendant, and I had wanted to get this doctorate in psychology. Such a significant memory of my life.
Mm.
I had applied for a special assignment position, and you had to go through multiple interviews. And we were working with the directors and the pilot heads, catering heads. We even got to try the wines that went on international flights
Oh,
and
okay.
choose them. So I had arrived, and I'm at this 8 o'clock in the morning meeting, sitting across from directors and everything of Northwest Airlines. And I have my suit on, my briefcase, my Palm Pilot, if you can remember Palm Pilots. And then everyone was talking about how much they couldn't wait till the end of the day.
Oh,
And they couldn't
wow.
wait until Saturday. And it was this realization that we make life about work to high schoolers. And my mom told me at one point that when you leave your job, they sweep out from under your desk and they replace you.
Yeah.
And when I left my classroom, which if any of my students ever see this, I'm not saying this is a bragging moment. My students know that I care deeply about them, but they will affirm that they swept out from my classroom and they put another teacher in my classroom. And I know that I made a difference because my students made a difference to me. But that doesn't mean that the life doesn't go on when you move on.
Right.
I think that idea of there being a destination is what we do a disservice to our students and to the world, because that's the message, especially in our capitalistic society of you're going to make money, you're going to do something great, you're going to go be something when you grow up. Mm-hmm. Instead of saying from early on as kindergarteners or in your first year of college, who are you? What I'm hoping is that when students are in a crochet class like Liam or any class, that they can learn their strengths and weaknesses so that they can find the person who is good at math, for example, and like I'm not good at math. And they can say, will you take on the math task so that I can take on the visionary task? Because I am a brainstormer and maybe the math person isn't good at brainstorming. I can find things that I'm good at so that I can excel in that task. And then the math person can excel at what they're good at and that they find makes them happy to do. We don't tell students as far as kindergarteners all the way up to college that that's the joy in life. When you can figure out who you are and feel excited to be the person that you are. Instead, we have students that are tasked at taking a test and getting everything right on a test. And then poor teachers, I remember being one of the teachers, we're tasked at telling students what they got wrong. Instead of the best evaluation tools for me was when I could get feedback. We learned this in Toastmasters. Feedback is fantastic when I can say, here's the one thing from this one exam that you can keep doing well, keep doing this one thing well, and then here's one thing that you can work on, because that's something that you can do instead of here's the 300 things that you got wrong. And that just makes you walk away and feel like you don't want to get up in the morning sometimes. And perhaps that's one of the reasons why our loneliness and sadness epidemic is so great. So.
Oh, absolutely. I'd love, Liam, your take on this, being that you're kind of in that more the starting of the college career. I've been in business for a while. Tara Lynn, you've done all kinds of crazy stuff. And so we've been there. But Liam, you're at like the start of the tunnel, so to speak, looking in. And what I wanted to throw out there at you was this idea that futurists are saying, they may be right or wrong, but futurists are saying humans as a species are going to have less work that we have to do in the future. And we've seen that progressively happen over hundreds of years, where it used to be humans were living 30 years and completely destroyed their body and ready to die. And now we're to the point where, by and large, society in America, it's 40-hour work week or somewhere maybe above, maybe below. But now they're saying with the introduction of AI, there's a chance that we're going to work less. And Liam, is from your perspective, if that is the case, and you're already seeing, I'd imagine, a lot of your peers feeling lonely and disconnected, what's that going to do if they don't find themselves like you've been talking about, Tara Lynn? What's your take on all of that, Liam?
So I have a really strong opinion on AI. You can keep this in or keep it out. I have a really, really strong opinion on this as somebody growing up right now. The benefits of AI right now are the potential benefits are overwhelming. There's so many cool things and things that could be simplified, like automation jobs or things that are just really boring that could be simplified with AI. My issue is that it's currently being implemented in a way that is taking away jobs from people and not providing jobs back. So there's a large, significant portion of my generation, especially, who don't have access to jobs right now. And while I agree that AI is going to make it easier in the future and make it so that there's less work, right now, yes, there is less work for each individual person. The problem is that taking that work away and not giving other job opportunities makes it so that people don't have the money to take advantage of that less work. So I've had friends that have graduated recently, and they're either working multiple jobs, they're going to the military, or they're barely scraping by. And while AI has the potential to fix that with the way that capitalism works, just definitively, right now in the current state where AI is being used for financial gain mostly, sorry, I'm trying to say this as respectful as possible. I have a very, very strong opinion on this. It's really detrimental to my generation right now. It's really hard to find a job. It's really hard to make a living. Housing prices are skyrocketing. Price of groceries is skyrocketing. Everything is way too expensive to afford right now. And growing up into it is and seeing the glorification of AI is always going to be frustrating for me and a lot of the people around me, because there's nothing that we can do about it. There's a lot of jobs that I would have had access to maybe 10 years ago if I would have graduated, that right now I just don't have access to, as AI is taking them away, or it's a billion people, figuratively, are applying to them right now. Right. So that's my opinion.
And I think that's the beauty of what you two have discovered and found. Bob Proctor has, for decades, I'm pretty sure it's Bob Proctor would say that people have to have work that they do. Work was created for humans, so we have fulfillment. But then he said, the interesting part was, your work and how you make your living don't have to be connected. And that's the part that I think you're taking to the world and saying, hey, the system is kind of broken. There's a disconnect. You go to school, you get the degree, and then you get the job. The jobs aren't there anymore. The school's teaching you jobs that aren't going to benefit you because the jobs were taken by AI. But on the flip side, you're saying, hey, here's a life readiness program, right? And we can help you so that even if the old jobs aren't there, you're going to have the resilience, you're going to have the skills, you're going to have things figured out in your brain so that you don't have to be stuck dead end. And that's what I love about what I've been hearing from you. And on the flip side of that, I was at a conference and we were talking about VidSummit earlier, and there's this guy, and my wife and I are just there, and all of a sudden people start chanting, he can't miss, he can't miss, he can't miss. And we're like, what the? And we turn around and there's this kid catching marshmallows in his mouth. And he's making, I think he's probably making more money than I am catching marshmallows. I'm like, that's where we've become as a society, that now people, like, sure, you're not flipping burgers anymore. You're catching marshmallows in your mouth and making a good living. But you'd never go to school for marshmallow catching, right?
Right, right. Jason, something I'm really proud of in our program, which is a multimedia program, Liam's our production manager, which I think is pretty cool. He was a YouTuber starting at 8. So when we started doing this, he was the one teaching me how to do all of the editing and video production and lighting and everything, which was really cool. But also in our program, which is 15 weeks long, 400 pages, week 8, he has this well-written AI explanation on tokens, on how to use AI well. And there's this analogy of where if you are prompting AI to create videos, and then you ask it to iterate, the analogy he uses is if you talk to a teacher, if a teacher asks you to write an essay, and then the teacher gives you a C, for example, and then you say it better.
I got you. The example that I give in the explanation is, imagine a teacher asks you to write an essay. You give it to them, you turn it in as you thought would be good, and they tell you it's not good enough, do it again. They don't give you any feedback on the essay itself. They don't let you iterate on the essay. They just say, do it all over again. Right. So you rewrite your entire essay. And let's say that's not exactly the same thing that the teacher wants again. They tell you, rewrite it again. It's the exact same thing with asking AI to create a video or a picture or even just a prompt, any kind of prompt. And then instead of saying, instead of having this in the picture, add this, you say, redo the whole picture. And a lot of people do that because they don't know how to prompt it correctly. And unfortunately, that uses way more tokens, uses up way more water and energy, and has a overall detriment on the environment in the world. And as a huge outdoors person, that is really impactful for me. I don't have anything else to say. Yeah.
And he also talks about tokens, which I didn't understand until he taught this to me, where he breaks down like a tweet is 50 tokens, and an essay, if you have it write an essay and then another essay, it might be 5,000 tokens, and a video might be 50,000 tokens. So every time you ask it to iterate and iterate and iterate, it takes up that many tokens. And so he says, I'm very passionate about this. So if you can just do this one thing and then tell your friends and family about it, we can just be making a difference in how much energy we're taking in the world. So it's things like this in our program that just make me feel excited to get this out into the world and to be a part of something that I'm doing with my own son in this business. It's exciting to be able to do together.
Yeah, that's awesome, because really AI is the Wild West right now. Yeah. And people don't know how to use it. They're like, what is this tool? And they're pounding on it. And it's not, and until you've been trained or figure it out, you're going to be really inefficient. So the fact that you're taking this and saying, hey, this can be good, let's use it the right way so it is good, that's amazing. And from a business perspective, everybody should be thinking, how do we do this more efficiently? And so you teaching them use less tokens by being intelligent means less cost on the business as well. So you reduce electricity cost, water cost, less heat production, and less cost to whoever's doing the request as well. So win-win-win for everybody. I love that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, and me saying it as a teacher is one thing. A teen might listen with half an ear, but a teen saying it to another teen is a completely different ballgame. So sure. I'm just proud.
Very cool. So when you decided you were going to go back and get your doctorate, right? What was there a moment that you're like, enough is enough, I'm willing to pay whatever price it takes, or did it just kind of slowly bubble up to that for you?
It's actually a sad story. I've been working with alternative youth for a long time, and the last year was really challenging. I am also writing a personal book, which hopefully will be out in the near future, but we have had multiple deaths by suicide, multiple overdoses, and it's not just my school. Liam goes to a very well-run school. Educators graduated from. My younger son is going there now. My younger son went to a junior high where we had a death by suicide. We have educators that are pouring their hearts and souls into school. I don't know if you know this, but people say teachers have the summers off. Teachers don't have summers off. Teachers don't get paid during the summer. We get paid during contract hours. And then often the school district will break up the checks into 12 months. But teachers don't get paid for summers off. For example, I had 2 master's degrees and I still only got paid enough money to barely make it.
I don't know how she did it with the amount of money she had to support 2 children. I have no idea.
It's very challenging, but I often worked my summers creating the curriculum for the rest of the year without technically getting paid. So, and getting master's degrees and doing professional development. So it's a challenging job. We pour our hearts and souls into our teenagers. And then when you get there, the kids are struggling. You have 30 kids in a class. Some teachers have 150 or 180 students. It's hard to be able to tell when a student slips through the cracks and they're depressed, or they're struggling at home, or they're malnourished, or they have someone at home, or one of their friends are depressed. There's so many different things that we're struggling with. And then our administrators are trying to help the teachers and the students. And then also with standards-based education, we're trying to hit all of these different core subjects that they're trying to, it's not that education is doing a disservice by teaching English and science and math and all these things. And anyway, my point is the education structure is trying to teach the content. Parents are trying to teach love and cooking and how to do chores and all of these things. We know that there's a gap. And Jobsperience, the reason why we came up with that name, is it's the experience for the job. And my teenagers and some of the ones that have passed on, I'm not even gonna be able to say what our dedication is, but in the dedication, part of it was for the kids that aren't here, the ones that have seats that are, I love those kids, but they helped us come up with the name Jobsperience. But some of them didn't make it because they didn't have these skills and they didn't have the confidence and they were lonely. And in our program, there's part of it where we talk to parents and teens on how to have conflict. We purposefully have conflict. We purposefully talk through things, and we teach parents and teens how to do that. And we teach parents and teens how to talk to each other and how to anticipate the high school years that are challenging. No one even talked to us about how to get through that senior year. We talk about it in the program. We've got videos in there. We read through some of it. Liam even talked about how annoying I can get sometimes, and I'm okay with it. I think at one point he even said how I drive behind him, and how I sometimes even try to open up envelopes for him or something. And we're just really real. We address drugs and alcohol. Connor talked about addiction at one point, and I brought up a analogy that he had in there. We're really real in it because people don't prepare parents for this time in life. They talk about diapers and the terrible twos,
Sure.
but they don't prepare us for that transition from junior high to high school, and then from high school to the beyond after high school. Because I think, A, if they did prepare us, maybe people wouldn't have babies. And B, by the time we get to this time in life, we're so busy, it's hard to take time. So all that to say, to answer your question, the last semester of my year as a teacher, it was kind of a dumpster fire. I love that meme. It was kind of like that. But I think if that didn't happen, we would have never had time to do this program. So I put in my resignation. My last day of school was graduation day. There were some things that happened that were terrible, but if it wouldn't have happened, just like my life, failing out of college, if I hadn't had failed out of college, I wouldn't be a teacher of alternative school children. If I didn't have ADHD and repetitive thought OCD, I wouldn't understand people who have ADHD and repetitive thought OCD. I had 3 years when I was in high school that I didn't talk to my mom. I actually told her that I wish she would have died because it would have been easier.
Oh, wow.
That kills me to say. And if my mom ever hears this podcast, she knows how much it kills me to say. She's also heard my apology, and she's one of my dearest friends now. And I understand how hard it is for parents to have hard conversations with their teens. 1 in 4 23-year-olds are estranged from one of their parents.
Whoa.
At this time in history. This is such a hard statistic to hear. All of our things in Jobsperience are backed by peer-reviewed research. We don't have a lot of 2026 statistics because we don't put things in the program that are not peer-reviewed or backed by sound science. So we researched every part of that whole program. And we did a conference in February at an international convention. We're excited to get information out, but we try to make sure that everything's backed by science or backed by accurate information. And the statistics are sad. 1 in 3 kids at 23 are estranged from parents, and we want to make a difference. Oh, 1 in 4.
There we go.
I almost said an inaccurate information. But you know what? This is why we work together, is he catches me, and I love that he can do that. Yeah,
So
we want to
who
make
is
sure
this
and make a
built
change.
for?
Oh, that's a great question.
I get to this part. Okay, this course originally was built for parents and teens, but now through a lot of revisions, it's for everybody. The main thing that this course is built for is that everyone can have access to it and everyone can learn from it. So while it's originally structured towards parents and teens, there's information in it that is useful to every single person on this planet. I guarantee you, unless they're like 2 years old. Maybe not if they're 50. But
and what's the pain that someone would be feeling that would be like, oh man, I am so frustrated with, and you'd be like, oh, come over here, come check out Jobsperience for that.
Hundreds of things, to be honest. Our course aims to explain as many possible things in such a short amount of time and such short lessons and programs that we've tried to encompass pretty much every single thing accessible. And for things that we didn't have time to talk about, we've got extra articles, and we'll be posting blogs and other things about it. But to answer your question, one example, and this is a big example for a lot of young adults and a lot of people that go out of college and even people that are older, even seniors, is budgeting. We've got a big section on budgeting, and we've got a big section on making sure that you know how to budget your money. And we've even got an entire other course coming out in the next couple of years about budgeting. A lot of people struggle with trying to budget their money so that they're not living paycheck to paycheck. And I've learned a lot from her. She's done this a lot of her life because I don't know if you know, you don't make a whole lot of money as a flight attendant. So she had to budget really, really well to even be able to survive and being a flight attendant and all these different things. There's that. And then the name of our course, and I don't know if it's the name of our course anymore, but it was the name of our course at one point, is calendar organization. And I think that's the most important thing in our course, along with budgeting.
Mm-hmm.
Being able to know when your events are and know what's going on and never be late for anything is such an important skill. And it's something that I've had to learn over the years because I used to be late to almost everything. And now I'm not because I use my calendar. But I think to answer your question, I know I've said that 3 times. I apologize. Somebody could be, like, as an example, somebody's late to everything, or somebody's in pain from missing an anniversary or something like that. That's actually a good example. Missing an anniversary, missing a birthday of a friend or something like that. None of that would happen if you had a calendar. And you just set up a quick calendar. It only takes 5 minutes. And you're able to accomplish so many things and solve so many problems with just this one tiny tool that you can set up super, super easily. So I think that would be the main thing that I would bring up if somebody's in pain from something is calendar is a pretty easy solution, man.
You know, as you were talking, it reminded me, probably 20 years ago or more, I was sitting in the living room with this husband and wife, and this guy, really cool. He worked in the prison system and was a prison guard, huge burly fellow. And his wife, sweet little lady, she said, she put her hand on his arm. And she's like, "Oh, he is so smart. He just sucks at real life." and as you're talking, I'm like, that's who this program is for.
Yeah.
And the specific person that I want to add to that is if you have a teen who is about to leave the house, I'm talking in the next few weeks, this program is the thing that you need the very most. And here's why. There's a page that says if you're short on time, and there are 10 specific clicks that you can do right away. One example is 5.1, and it helps you set up your phone for emergencies. And I have an example of why this is so important. I have a friend who talks about when she went to college, she broke her arm. She couldn't speak. She hadn't done one of the other ones is, I believe it's 4.28. And it talks about you need to file with the state your HIPAA and your will and everything that gets your parents to be able to call the hospital. So her parents couldn't call the hospital because she hadn't done that, which a lot of people don't know. They fill out the FERPA, but they don't send it to the hospital or get it registered with the state so that the hospital knows that your parents can talk with you. Because right now, Liam, if he hadn't done it, I can call the hospital, but they're like, "I'm sorry, we can't give you any information because he's 18. And then she didn't have her phone set up right because emergency responders are trained to be able to push the emergency button. But if you don't have it set up right, which is in our program, that they can't access the information. So she got to the hospital. They couldn't access the information. She was in so much pain, she couldn't even breathe. So she couldn't remember her information. She couldn't find her insurance card. Wow. She couldn't remember any information. So not only was she in pain, she was in pain and for so much longer. She couldn't get a hold of her parents. It was just this entire mess that could have been solved by clicking our program and doing just a few hours worth of work so that parents feel confident. They feel like they're sending their teen off onto their new milestone, feel with their stuff backed up. There's also another one, Proton Drive. It talks through all of the different documents they need. Like Liam was like, I don't want to do this, but he has everything backed up on the cloud in an encrypted place. We've researched the right place to do it. And it's got all of the details of which things they need, how to get that done, why it's the right one. And then even if they don't want to do that one, also we are not sponsored by anyone. And the reason why we self-published is we didn't want any authority over us. And that way we keep everything up to date. We go through things as fast as possible, click through our links constantly. So we don't have any broken links. We refresh often. So anyway, that's why as far as everyone can use it, yes. If you have a teenager though, and you're like, I want to make sure, or if you're leaving yourself, and you're like, I want to make sure that I have everything set up, adult documents, password protection and security, emergency preparedness. And then the calendar point, if you've ever heard of James Clear, Atomic Habits, or JB Fogg, Tiny Habits, we have 2 parts to our system. Every day comes with a habit building process throughout the 105-day document. That's part of it. And it is so tiny. The habit building process, it's like if you want to run a marathon, you start off with just putting on your shoes. And we take you through an entire habit building process of the calendar organization piece. And then every day also comes up with a task that you do in short steps. It's meant to do in 7 to 10 minutes a day. So we're not trying to overload you, but by the end of the entire program, you have your entire life organized. And that's why it's called the 5 phases to prepare your teen for adult independence.
I love it. So where do people go to find this?
TaraLynnHaley.com.
Perfect. And are you on any social media, or what's that world like? Can people follow you on other places?
Yeah, so that's a bit of a work in progress. We have accounts already. We have a YouTube account, and that's where all of our audio files go. They're unlisted, but once you got access to the document, you'll have access to them. We've got a couple videos on there just as introduction videos and things for the website. We plan to do a lot of Instagram stuff. I will have an account soon for my personal Instagram and things like that, but I think it's just Tara Lynn Haley right now, or it's Jobsperience on YouTube and Instagram.
Getting launched today. We've got an Instagram account. We've got a LinkedIn account. We've got a Facebook account, and we will start. We've got hours and I think over 1 million characters ready to go. I've been working on my doctorate, and we've been working on this since 2019.
Wow.
Jason, since 2019, we've been working on this. So we have so much information that we can't wait to share. And we wanted to make sure we had everything aligned before we started to launch on social media. We wanted to make sure we weren't giving people misinformation. And we're excited to start getting the word out. So things are launching. August 5th was when we published our program. And things are starting to launch as of this week, August 11th. And we're looking forward to getting out into the world, telling people all about it.
Since 2019?
2019.
What a journey. And to think that you've taken a whole lifetime of experience and then some, and you've pulled from all the best sources and spent like 7 years basically, or in that neighborhood of 7 years, compiling the best of all this knowledge from all these experts and all the case studies. And someone could go out and do that themselves, or they can just come talk to you. Like,
well, and then for Liam to be in junior high and high school.
Right.
Yeah, I was just going to quickly mention on top of the 2019 thing, we've been doing this. Went from Jobsperience originally was completely different from what it is right now. It originally was at the library, and we set up a big open area, and it was a life simulator type thing.
Okay.
We set up, it was like a budgeting course. That's what it originally was in her classroom when she did it originally at Frank Church. And then it's grown and grown. It turned into a course. It turned into a budgeting course. It turned into so many different things. And then this is what we eventually ended up with after 1 billion iterations. And like,
good thing you weren't spending tokens on all that. You've probably burned up the whole world.
Yeah. Oh, no more water. All the oceans are gone.
Love it. So as we wind down, I wanted to get this right. They go to TaraLynnHaley.com. Is that right?
Yeah.
And then you said YouTube's about YouTube and Instagram and all of the platforms are launching basically today. And so people can jump on pretty much any social and they'll start to be able to see you popping up.
Yes.
Excellent.
We'll have a bit of a slow rollout on all the social media content because I'm going to be at a marching band camp in the next couple of weeks. So I will be very busy so I can do a whole lot of the content there. So it'll be her. And then as soon as I get out of that and I've got more free time, it'll be more free flowing, more content going out. So
wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited to see where this goes. It seems like a program that really is going to go and fill a gap that really exists in the world and can help a ton of people to be, instead of sucking at life, successful at life.
Thanks, Jason. I hope so. I hope so.
Thank you. Appreciate it.